an unveiling we've seen coming from Facebook. They want them to look cool if you're going to be buying these glasses going forward in 10 years or so. But also, talk to us about the opening of the ecosystem here, because this is getting developers involved.
Yeah, so I think that the common belief for a long time was they were copying elements of Snapchat from a augmented reality perspective with the filters, the masks, the lenses. Facebook famously bought a company called Masquerade about a year and a half ago that was all about putting the augmented reality masks on its own standalone app. Facebook quietly bought them. I think now we're starting to see some of that technology opened up. So scale and first to market is not necessarily the same thing as the 800-pound gorilla coming to market. I think that's really what's happening with Facebook now. They'll offer you the computer vision, the depth sensing, the simultaneous localization and mapping, the SLAM depth sensing technology for free to most developers out there so that they can build their masks and their filters and their augmented reality apps on top of the Facebook platform. Facebook essentially ends up becoming the app store for augmented reality brand-sponsored advertising.
Sort of fascinating. So in a way, does Snapchat remain a legitimate competitor in the AR space?
So I think that it was, turning down the $3 billion offer, Evan Spiegel, he turned down the $3 billion offer, and then, now he's $25 billion, so a nice kick on valuation.
Who wins, yeah.
I think that Gen Z and millennials are still, you're still going to have a very young user base on Snapchat. It's very novelty driven. It does have quite a solid AR roadmap ahead of it from a technology perspective. But I think that Facebook really opening up this platform to third-party developers is really key, because it means that Facebook doesn't have to develop the killer AR app itself.
Yeah.
It means that one of the many artists or developers out there will do so. Whereas Snapchat was, charging up to $800,000 a day for I think there was an Ed Sheeran lens or something during the promotion of his album that was targeted very heavily within certain areas for a limited period of time. Now the idea is, if you open this up, you give a lot of the tech away for free, you kind of are attracting, you're raising a flag and saying, come build with us. We want the data, we want you hanging out here. Anywhere that you're being social, we want you to do that with Facebook.
Come build with us, come buy with us. I mean,
Exactly.
You just mentioned Ed Sheeran there and the amount that was being spent perhaps by brands at Snapchat. This offers a whole plethora of way companies can now spend with Facebook.
Yeah, so I think that other elements that they've announced at F8 are largely focused on the bots platform, on the Messenger platform that they have. So I think that they have a multifaceted approach of what they can offer you as a brand now. Come engage with your audience on Facebook through Messenger with our bots. Infiltrate various social communications between various groups of friends by inserting a bot that's just organic to that conversation. Come to our traditional Facebook app install network, or now come to get this entirely new to monetize real estate, which is augmented reality. Essentially graffiti, tags, overlays, all this kind of stuff is them learning more about what you're doing in the real world and how can they better target you with brand dollars accordingly.
And augmented reality is something that they've now been pushing into, potentially copying Snapchat to a certain extent. But they've always been there front and centre with virtual reality after the purchase of Oculus. Can you talk to us a little bit about those announcements as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I think with virtual reality, Oculus is an amazing piece of technology, but it was certainly a missed market opportunity. It was first to market. Facebook planting the $2 billion or $3 billion price tag as it became public, won that company, kind of got the venture capitalists all excited. We all started investing in VR and AR. It's the I think the third or the fourth coming of the technology since the 60s. I think that they recently announced something called Spaces at F8, which is basically a way of 3D avatars like us, avatars of ourselves, being able to communicate, watch content together, share photos, have a laugh, be able to wave at each other, etc. So real presence. It's pretty cool. I tried it yesterday. It's live now on the Oculus Rift headsets. What's interesting though is that they want to go cross-platform, so they're not tying themselves to their own hardware, much in the way that Apple often does with actually owning the OS layer on its smartphone. So I think that VR is very exciting for certain applications like gaming, certain types of cinematic storytelling. But I think AR really is the category killer, because that disrupts the world the same way that your smartphone did in 2008.